Reddit quietly became the #1 source LLM citing the responses, about 40% of total mention in 2025. But most teams still post on Reddit like it's traditional social media, when the real upside is treating Reddit like SEO. Building comments are ranked for AI answers, so models like ChatGPT or Claude rank in answer within days and not weeks or months or years. So today we are building a weekly Reddit engine that, number 1, scans your chosen subreddit for the hottest post of the week. Number 2, ranks the best fit for your product and offers. And number 3, writes SEO or AEO optimized comments that LLM and humans actually pick up. Then emails you the top 10 with the ready to post replies. You just have to check and post. And I'll show the finish run first, and then we'll build it step by step. So every Thursday at 8 a.m., this email hits my inbox. 10 threads across all of the subreddits which I'm monitoring, each with a scannable, keyword-aware, comment, anticipate-related question, so it's both discoverable by LLMs and useful to real people. LLMs are known for often surfacing UGC, user-generated content like Reddit. So if we flip the concept of Reddit from, okay, this is social posting, to this is answer engine optimization, which is the equivalent for LLM than SEO. And we draft replies with a clear problem framing, SEO or AEO modifiers like location pricing and common queries. If we set up a scannable formatting, which is short paragraph, bullet point, mini headings, and we anticipate frequently asked questions to widen discoverability, we have answer which is really optimized to be queried by LLMs and to be picked up by LLMs. And our chances of being recommended within LLM answers are exponentially higher. But before we start the building, which is my favorite part, a quick introduction. Hi, I'm Pietro. I create educational content on AI for non-technical people on LinkedIn and here in YouTube. I am also the co-founder of Enforce, an AI automation agency when we develop custom AI systems for businesses. To receive all of my videos and the things I build, hit subscribe and sign up to my newsletter. You can find all of the links below in the description. For today's build, you'll only need a free Relay account. You can find the link to create an account below. An account on Reddit, which you have to create. I'll also add the link in the description. And ideally, a connection to a Google Sheet, which is not necessary, but it will help you organize the context. So we'll build it as an optional step in the flow. You have two options for building: a full step-by-step build it way session, which is approximately 20 minutes, where we'll go from zero to having the agent fully built. Or you can also check out the setup only version, which should pop up around here on the screen. You can click on that. In this shorter version, I will show you the template, the final version. I will share it with you in the comments below, and you'll only get an explanation on what each steps mean, what you have to do to get it up and running, and usually takes no more than 5-10 minutes. So up to you which you want to go. This session is going to be the longer session, step-by-step build from zero to the full agent. We finally got to the building part. What we will build, it will have the following characteristic. It will look for relevant subreddits which are specifically interested for our own company and our own niche. It will take our company information like our website to understand what is our offer, who is our ICP, and how we usually talk with our potential customer. It will then go to all of the subreddits which we have selected because they're interesting for our company, and we'll find out the hottest post of the last week, and then based on the information about our company, it will draft AEO, SEO optimized comments. It will email it to ourselves and put them in a Google Sheet so we have them also all together on a weekly basis. Let's get to the build. If you don't have a Relay account, you can find the link below where you'll see when you'll be prompted to create an account. I'm just going to go ahead and log in because I obviously already have an account. Once I'm in, what I want to do is I want to click on create new workflow, because we're going to start this workflow from scratches so that you can see step by step what's the reasoning behind and how you get to a fully working tool like the one I just showed you. The first step is going to be add the trigger. The trigger, imagining the signal that tells your agent he has to wake up and perform the workflow which we will build today. So if I add a trigger, I can have a manual trigger, which is going to be me telling the workflow, okay, start now. It could be scheduled, which is what we're going to use today. Or it could be also, let me go back, actually. It could be also an action, for example, a webhook or a mail hook, which is when I receive an email for a very specific person who was a very specific subject, we will activate the workflow. In this case, as we said, we're going to use a schedule workflow and we're going to have it run on a weekly basis. In this case, the standard is weekly on Wednesday, which is today when I'm shooting this video, and we can also set the hour when we want it to. Once the trigger is done, I am gonna go ahead and start building the workflow. You see that I will insert notes in this workflow, which makes it easier to understand what we're building in each phase. You don't have to do it. They don't change at all the working of the workflow. Once we have set the node, the next step will be to create a table of constant. This is basically create a table of constant here. This is basically a Google Sheet or an Excel within Relay, so we can give structured information to the agent. Once we have created this step, we will add a set of the information which we want to have here. The first is going to be the subreddit name, which we want to give, and the second is going to be the subreddit without the /, which is what we're going to use in the flow. For the sake of this exercise, I'm going to add some sample subreddit. You have to do this step. You have to select which are the best possible step for this workflow. I will insert down in the description a list of the most used subreddits for startups, and I will also insert another agent which I built previously, which helps you identify which are the key subreddits where you can promote your product or company. For the sake of this exercise, I will use two sample ones which are relevant for the company we'll use for this exercise today. So the subreddit I'm selecting, product marketing and product hunters. So you see that in the subreddit name, we'll have the name of the subreddit, which is by default r/ the name of the subreddit, and then the name of the subreddit without the r/, which is what we need in the later step of this flow. Once we have created this, we have basically given the agent the information about the subreddits which you want to monitor. This is where you have to go look for interesting posts I could comment on. Once this is done, the next step is going to be, and let me add another note here, is going to be inserting your company information. These agents need to understand who you are, what your company does, what your product is, who you're selling to, so who is your ICP. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and insert another table of constant, just like we did before. So you can type your table, create a table of constant. If you click, you'll be prompted to insert your set of the information. In this case, what we're going to want is to have the information about our own company, right? So we'll have company name, we'll have URL step, and have the company URL. Again, here when you click on plus, you're prompted to select the type of data which you're adding. It can be either text, or in this case, URL. So we also want to add company blog URL. This depends if your company has a blog, obviously, but if you have, the more textual and codified information you have about your company you give to the agent, the better you will be able to rephrase and use the context about your company to create meaningful comments on Reddit. And the last thing we want to add, because most companies have it, is another URL, which is the LinkedIn URL of the company. Once this is done, let's add one example so we can then try and test this flow. I'm going to add Relay app, which is the workflow app we're using today, just because all of us are necessarily familiar and know it, since we're using it today. So I'm adding here all of the links. One more time, this session is a build with me, in the sense that we'll go step by step from zero to having the final agent on a step-by-step basis. You can also just use the template, which is again included in the links in the description, and check my video, which should appear again here somewhere on the screen at this very point, and which is only going to guide you through, okay, take this template, make it work, without driving it through all of the steps which you're doing which you have taken to get there. And this is just a faster way there. If you don't want all of these boring explanation, I hope it's not boring, and try to make it as factual as possible. So once we have inserted all the information, we want to set up an agent. Basically take some of the information we gave in the previous step and use them to analyze our company and create a beautiful organized company description. Here, as you see, I'm copy pasting the prompt because I already prepared it and tested it before, but then when I paste it, it doesn't have variable assigned. So what I'm doing here is basically taking the prompt and connecting it to the actual data. Right, so what we're saying here is I want that based on the company name of my company and on my company URL, and again company URL, and based on my company blog, and based on tool which I'm gonna set up, connect LinkedIn, search for LinkedIn profile. Perfect. Create a description of my company, who it serves, which niche is it in, who our target customer is, and what the main messaging and style are, and what type product it offers. So based on all the information which were given in the previous step, which is AI has also access to, we are creating a company description to make it easier for him then to create relevant comment on Reddit. Now, the two things you have to do when you set up an AI agent on an AI step within Relay is, number one, you want to check that the AI has access to the right set of information. In this case, it was already prompted to the right set of information, but at times you might also want it to have access to previous steps. For example, it's not the case, but if you want to have access to the subreddit table which you created before, you would need to give access manually. And the other thing you want to do is you want to check that the output is a fit with what you're looking for. In this case, we're looking for only one paragraph with all of the information about the company, and I don't want all of this fielded description with smaller item which I could ask for. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change this output to exclusively text, right? So I want paragraph with plain text with all of this information. Now we have the AI agent has all of the information about my company. What I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna set up, let me add a note real quick. We're gonna search for key Reddit posts each week. So we have given the information about the subreddit we're interested in. What we wanna do next is we wanna set up loop step, so an iterator that goes through all of the subreddits which are interesting for us and select table 2. Here, when we selected the key subreddit for your company, we want to go through every subreddit which we have selected. In this case, we inserted 2, just to make this example, product marketing and product hunter. So we want to go through each of these subreddit, and we want to, if I type Reddit here, get post by subreddit. Exactly. Within the loop, for each item in the loop, it will take the subreddit. How does it take the subreddit? We go here to row, and we have to type in subreddit. Make sure you don't type here subreddit name. It should be the variable without the r/, because that's how the information are queried. We can also select sort order. In this case, we are sorting by hottest topic. If you were to run these on a daily basis, if you have time on a daily basis, you can also set it for rising. Rising posts are those posts which are just popping up, they're on the on-ramp and they are getting a lot of traction and interest, while hot topic are already big, right? So if you can leave a meaningful comment on a rising post, you'll get more views. But the next best option, if you want to do it on a weekly basis and not on a daily basis, would be to go to the hottest topic, which are the most likely to be ranked by LLMs. So we'll set sort order for hot. You can adapt this to your preference, and we'll set the time period for the last week. If no Reddit posts are found, in this case, I want to pause and send a notification. It should always find some posts. So it means that if it doesn't find something didn't go right, so I want to receive an email notification on a weekly basis. So once we have done this is the only item we want to have inside the loop. We're going to go outside the loop and click on the plus below, not add to the loop, but the plus below. And we're going to add another step, which is another step node, which is going to be a summary of the weekly key Reddit post, top 10. So there will be a selection step and there will be a comment drafting step. Let me click on plus. This is going to be the most complex part to set up, just because the prompt, it took a bit of time to have it actually do what I want. I'll drag you through the prompt, I'll copy paste it and drag you through it and explain you how it works and why each section has sense to be here. So I'm going to go ahead, click on plus. Again, click on agent. Once I click on the agent, I have now pasted the prompt. As I did before, the variables didn't paste correctly, so I have to adapt them based on my company name, and I want to connect my company name directly here based on 3. First JSON in data list, because there's only one JSON. There will always be one JSON because it's only one company which we have. And based on the AI output on step 4, which is the summary of our company, based on my company name and the AI output, identify which Reddit posts are relevant for me to comment on, because they might be interesting to leave a comment on my company, what we offer. My goal is to leave comments that mention our service, how our service can help, without directly promoting or disclosing us being part of the company. Basically, how can, and again, I have to connect the right item here, how can our company, and we're linking our company name, help? So I want the comment to answer to this question. How can my company help? Without disclosing I'm part of it. So I want this to appear as a user-generated comment, as a peer-to-peer recommendation, not as me as part of this specific company going there and pushing my own service, because it's obviously received in a different way. Once this is done, I want to tell him select post purely by topic fit, specifically those where my company's value proposition or solution is relevant and could add meaningful insight. Then generate the top 10 posts of the week. The previous staff will have queried over 50 posts. I don't want to comment on 50 posts. You can adapt this to what you want. I only want the top 10. So I'm telling you, generate the top 10 by changing this number 10. You'll be able to adapt this. You have time to comment on 20, 30 posts. Better. The more you do, the more results you get and the faster you get them. And then I want to rank them from 1 to 10 based on relevance to our value proposition and opportunity to promote our service indirectly. You can use all the information included in, and again here, when you see there's any formatting while I copy paste, it's because any variable which is connected to another step of the flow, it's not kept when I copy paste. So I'm just telling you, again, where to go look for all the information which you need for this. Based on all the information included in this step, you will select the top 10. For each post, draft a helpful, high-quality comment that follows as many as possible of the following rules. And this is the part where I'm telling them how to draft a comment so that it is optimized for answer engine optimization or for SEO. So you want to frame the problem clearly and respond with deep specific insight. You want to integrate SEO and geo modifiers naturally within the comment, for example, region, local regulation, pricing, and so on. You want to have a clear formatting. You want to anticipate related questions. Posting our company name, which is the final goal, as a relevant solution using the information listed above. You must find the right way to mention the company. Say what you use and you're happy with, right? So I want the agent to specifically mention our company, otherwise it wouldn't make sense, right? So at one point of the content, our company name should be specifically mentioned. And finally, explain why each post was selected. This is for us, it's not for sharing, and why the drafted comment is likely to perform well from SEO geo perspective. Okay, so this prompt was quite long. Again, in the description, in the tally link below, you'll find this template, so you can also take this same template and adapt it to your own. You don't have to write this prompt right here with me, but you can if you want. Once this is done, as I said before, we need to make sure of two things: that the AI has access to the right set of information. In this case, it doesn't have access to the AI output, which is where we describe our company, so I want to give you access to that. It has access to the Reddit post, these are results of the iteration through the Reddit post. And the other thing I want to do is I want to make sure the output is in the exact format which I want. So I want the rank, I want the post title, I want the post URL, I want the drafted comp, I want the reason for selection, and SEO and geo explanation. Perfect. So it has all of the information which I want him to have here. This was the hardest step. We're almost done. The next step will be to send ourselves a summary of this 10 posts with the comment, so we can copy and paste and adapt. So let me have a note, like a top 10 posts. So we're gonna add another step, and I'm gonna type the same, send anyway to yourself. Here, what we want to do is we basically want to include a subject line, which is going to be post or comment on this week, current date and time. Right? We want to take the current date and time because every week it will be different. If I want to search for the email that was sent 2 weeks ago, I can do it by date. I recognize it by date. And then in the body of the email, I want to have somewhere in the post to comment on. And then I want to add dynamic data, which is basically the responses of step 7. A bullet list of the responses of step 7. When I want, for example, here, I want the Reddit post title. And then I want a step list of the Reddit post URL. So I can go and click on it and open it directly. Reason for selection and the drafted comment itself. Step here. Step what we're doing, we're just formatting the response. We have 5 responses for each, 10 responses, 10 comments for each one. I will add the post title, post URL, reason for selection, draft comment, and this is done. Once it's done, the last step, again, this is optional. Only if you use Google Sheet, it will work. You can also use another step, like for example, Airtable or Notion, anything that has basically usable database. And what we're going to do is we are also going to insert this information in a Google Sheet. So we're going to type sheet, Google Sheet, and we're going to write this list to a new spreadsheet. What we're telling is take all of the 10 comments which were produced and write them. In this case, I'm selecting step 7 with all the responses. We will insert the rows as header. We want to put it in my drive. You can customize this wherever you want, and you want to add the title to the spreadsheet. In this case, Reddit post to comment on with date and time. Perfect. This should be it. Let's run a test run and see how it goes if it's successful. What we're doing here is starting a test run. You can find the button here. This one consume AI credits, which is very nice. So if I click on start now, we see that it will iterate through all of the steps. While it does, while this run, let's make a quick recap of what we have done so far. We have selected a set of subreddit which are interesting for our company, where people post topics which are relevant for our company. On a weekly basis, we look for the hot posts in this specific subreddit. We will have given the agent information about our company, our site, our blog, our LinkedIn, and where to find information, written information about our company that explain how we sell and what we sell. Then we'd have a first agent that compile a summary of our company and what we do. We will have an iterator to fetch all the posts from the subreddits, and we have a second agent which is the heart of this flow that take the top 10s, select the top 10s based on relevance. It will draft SEO, AEO optimized drafts, and it will explain why it drafted this specific comment and how it selected this specific post. It will then take this top 10 subreddit and email it to ourselves once a week after events, plus an optional step to have this also inserted in Google Sheet. I find it personally more useful because it helps me to edit the draft directly, right? So I receive the draft, I go to the Google Sheet, I check the drafts, I edit the things which I'm not sure of. I still think it's important that there is a human in the loop and you don't post it directly, which you can if you want once you perfect it. But I always recommend you start by having a human in the loop and a step to check if this worked as it should. We can see in the meantime that he has run the first steps. It write the prompt, it write a description about our company. You can see here, relays a collaborative AI. You can see all of the input that the agent received, the output, and the conversation that was had with the specific model. We can see they also found for every subreddit 25 posts. And we see now it's running step 7, which is the selection of the top 10 and the drafting of the comments. This is obviously the key step, so it takes a bit more time. Let's give it a second to finish. Perfect. It has finished. So if we go here and check, we can see it has selected top 10 posts. Let's see if we have received the email. Let me go back here and go to my inbox. See, okay, perfect. We received. Perfect. Summary on the post to comment on October 22, 2025 at 12:30. Perfect. We have the name of the post, the link of the URL, and the explanation why this works. And then we have the actual comment. So short answer, centralize the intake, not the data, rooted with ownership. Here's a pragmatic setup that works for our B2B SaaS. Okay, we see here it mentions a bunch of different services which has worked for them. We have also a recommendation of workflow to set this up. Perfect. Let's see if it properly recommends relay as well within these tabs. Okay, perfect. So we see that here at the beginning, you can stitch with Next integration and user orchestration layer to connect Zendesk Intercall, I use Relay app for this and have been happy with it. Nice balance of AI classification with human problem in Slack. Okay, this is actually perfect. So a lot of things, a lot of detail, it's very structured, and it's not obvious that it's a Relay promoted comment, but they just mention it in the flow. And it's an actual very strong comment that can bring us exactly the results for which we'll pick these two. One last thing, let's check the Google Sheet. Here we can see, let me reformat it briefly to say if it was where. We see the same exact thing which we had before. We see the rank, the post title, the post URL, and here we have the drafted comment. I can also go in and edit it, which is what I was telling before. So before posting, I can edit directly here and have a trial run of everything I have done. The cost of running this agent, as I said, it would have been 137 credits, which is perfect. You can run it for free on Relay approximately 4 times a month, because when you create a free account, you have 500 credits to use, which is very nice. If you want to increase the speed or have other agents, you need to move to a paid account, but you can do it for free, which I think is absolutely incredible. You can definitely try it a bunch of times and perfect it, and then run it on a monthly basis, which is great. And that's it for today. Remember, you'll find all the information, the template which we have built live in the session in below in the comment section of this YouTube video. I would love if you subscribe to the channel. I'm just getting started here on YouTube, and I really hope this content is helpful. Let me know in the comments what you'd like me to build next, and you can find also all of the builds which I create live on my newsletter and on my LinkedIn, which was where I post most frequently. Thank you very much for making it this far. See you soon.